You're watching Leafs Morning Take with host Nick Alberga and former NHLer Jay Rosehill. The show starts now.
Monday, January 5th, and we have a new franchise-leading goal scorer, Jay Rosehill. Mats Sundin surpassed by Auston Matthews in Toronto over the weekend. Big weekend for history books here in Toronto, Rosie. How you feeling after what we just witnessed?
Oh, that's pretty cool. You almost felt like you almost said we have a new Leafs goal leader, Jay Rosehill. I was like, wow,
Yeah.
just a couple off. No, that's cool, man. I mean, the story right now is they're trying to dig their way out of the hole that they're in is the emergence of Matthews here. And it's just nice after everything they've gone through this season to, first of all, see Matthews scoring at the clip that he is in the last handful of games. I mean, he looks like his old self.
The way he's scoring, too.
Yeah, like big, dynamic, powerful types of goals and types of plays, driving wide and just hammering it to the net, hammering it to the middle, cutting to the middle, big clappers in his favorite spots, one-timers, and, even his exuberance in, celebrating is different. Like, he just has a different feel to him, and it's just a breath of fresh air in this market. It may not lead to enough of what they need to do this season. It's yet to be seen, but just to get some celebration, see him doing that, and then it's weird with organization that old with that much history to have that kid be there. It reminds you of how bloody good he has been and can be, and the clip that he's been scoring at his entire career is just like 317 games, less games than what it took Matt Sundin to set it. Like, that's not
crazy.
Like 80 games less. It's gross, and it's nice to see that kid going, because they're not going anywhere if they can't if he can't get out of the way that he's been the last almost year and a half. So again, breath of fresh air with that one. It's nice to see.
I don't mean this as any shade, Rosie. You played professional hockey. You played in the NHL. You scored goals in the NHL. I didn't even come close to any of that. But we've documented this pretty thoroughly here on the show. You scored 5 career NHL goals. Was there a moment for you where you were watching game 1 where he scores 4 and you're just sitting there like, what the fuck am I watching right now? Like,
oh yeah,
this guy's going to total me in one game.
Dude, I've got 5.5. Like, don't shortchange me there.
Sorry.
One got disallowed. Like, let's get serious here. But no, on his first game, I was just like, oh my God, it's his first game in the league, and he's got almost all of mine right now. It's insane. And yeah, the things that these players do sometimes, and on the offensive side of it, and the way they can score at will sometimes, and the different ways they score and the sticks they use. Like, I think Geeky shot a puck, like a wrist shot, snapshot, and it was like 95 miles an hour last week. It's like, what are you talking about? Most guys throughout the history of the game can't clap one 95 miles an hour, and these guys are loading up wristers and snappers at that clip, and they know where it's going, and they can pinpoint it. It's disgusting, and Matthews is leading the charge as far as Americans for the ability to do that. And yeah, my jaw's on the floor all the time watching these skilled guys do what they do in that league.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it there. 421 for Auston Matthews here now on the career. 2 goals against the Islanders. Does it in a third less games than Mats Sundin was able to do it. And as you pointed out, I think the biggest thing here, Rosie, is not just the fact that he did it. I said it on After Dark the other day. It would have been great to see him do it this year, and he probably would have got there anyways. But it's the way he's scoring these goals right now. We just watched on the screen, if you're watching on YouTube, the one-timer to actually pass Sundin. That's a shot he's not even taking last year, Rosie. That's a shot he's not taking throughout the beginning of the season. Opens up, rips that thing past David Riddick, and yeah, he had a pretty open cage, but I brought up the fact that the velocity of the shot, how quickly he got that thing off, the fact that he's not stopping it, trying to corral it and take the shot, as well as the accuracy there as well. Yes, it was a more open net, but how many times last year to start this season is he hitting Riddick? Is he hitting the post? Is he missing the net? It feels different watching him right now. I feel like we're watching a guy who goes out on the ice, and every time he's out there, he's dangerous right now. He could score. He's going to cause a problem. He's going to spend a lot of time in the offensive zone. 5 goals over his last 2 games here right now. So I'll ask you the impossible question, and I'm going to radio you and make this incredibly difficult on you. Is Auston Matthews back, Jay Rosehill?
I mean, it goes without saying that he's back. You're watching it. It's proof. Whether it's sustainable or he'll go back to being more timid or whatever it is that he was doing before, I can't predict the future. But that is vintage Auston Matthews, what we've been watching the last few games. And it's like, again, like when he sellies and he just has this power back. It's like he's Austin Powers, not Auston Matthews, and he lost his mojo for a while there, and he's got her back, baby. It's totally different look. And one thing for me is like how, like, you know how like Stoli started kind of like just you put a pin on the timeline right when he kind of criticized the team and the effort, and it was basically Nylander. And as soon as he did that, he started playing poorly. It's like the opposite of that with this team and Auston Matthews. You can just pinpoint the firing of Marc Savard, and then everything just starts flourishing. Like our power play is firing on all cylinders. Matthews is just this monster again. It's crazy. And I'm not saying it's because they fired him, but it's just weird how you can just go. And that right there, that change in the team, the organization, the dressing room, the mentality is when everything kind of turned around. They've been playing considerably better hockey since that time in all aspects, and Auston Matthews is leading the charge right there. And again, it's just going to open up speculation to what was wrong with him, and I'm sure we'll probably never know, but it looks completely different out there. And it's just more rumors and speculation on like what the hell was it, because he, like you say, the way he's shooting and the spots he's getting in and the speed and the burst and the power and the ability to corral pucks and get into tight spaces, it just wasn't there for a considerable amount of time. And the only thing anyone could come to was like, this guy's hurt. And I believe that he is or was, but then like you had 4 months on the summer to get healthy, and he came out of training camp looking a shell of himself. It's like, what the hell happened over that Christmas break where it's like, ta-da, I'm healthy again. It just makes no sense, dude. But instead of trying to tear through the layers, I'm just pleased to see it again. And it gives you hope that they can sneak in to the playoffs or find their game and like shed that garbage that was the beginning of the season. And we don't know what the rest of the year holds or the playoffs, if they can make it. Are they just going to be a one and done, or can they do something that would be the total flip side of what they've done in years past and struggle through the regular season, put it together, get healthy, which is a whole other story, and find it and get into the playoffs and maybe do something. It's a whole new season once you get in the playoffs. You see, number one, like Colorado could lose out in the first or second round for all we know. Like crazier things have happened. So it gives us hope that we have this guy back, that maybe we can salvage something of this season.
It truly is wild. You pointed it out. Marc Savard, that day he's fired, it's changed overnight. And it's not just Auston Matthews comes out of nowhere. And I'm not saying this whole thing is on Marc Savard, but you watch his level of play. You watch the pace of play of the team, the power play success rate, how they're playing in transition. They play with the puck more. They outgenerate other teams. They outshoot other teams. And it's like, what the hell was that guy doing in there? Or could that guy possibly be doing in there to be changing things, or for having it change this much overnight? And again, I think that based on the fact that there is like a complete overhaul, it can't possibly just be on one guy. I think everybody in that room looked around after that situation and said, hey, we've got to do something differently. And it's paying dividends. I mean, they're still not in a playoff spot here right now. They've dropped a few games that I believe that they shouldn't have, or dropped points that I think that they shouldn't have. But regardless, the way that they're playing, the way they're attacking the game, it's been very different. So lots to get to still here from over the weekend and in Leafs Nation as well. I want to get your thoughts on the World Juniors and what just happened last night for Canada in the semifinal game against the Czechs. But Leafs Nation 401 right here on YouTube. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 25,000 subscribers, Rosie, by the Olympics. That's the next goal. We're setting it high, setting the bar high here. So hit that subscribe button. Remember, Leafs Morning Take wherever you find your podcasts. Leafs Nation After Dark wherever you find your podcasts as well. And today's show, as always, is a presentation of Bet365. But Rosie, Tanev news over the weekend is the big one. We'll get into William Nylander here as well. But Dave Pagnotta says Tanev's regular season may be over, according to his sources. Tanev will meet with a surgeon in the coming week to determine next steps. If they move forward with surgery, he's expected to be out until late April/early May. And a note here from Alberga he passed along, not groin surgery. This is not groin surgery, which, I mean, to me, that would imply back, neck, whatever it was that he was dealing with earlier on. And then when he had the other setback after he had just come back and was put out of the lineup or taken out of the lineup yet again, it feels like that's the issue that he's going to be dealing with here. What'd you make of that news and just kind of how this team could possibly handle this going forward?
It's brutal. It's a massive blow to the team, to the whole back end. I mean, we've seen when he's out and then comes back how much different the back end looks. He just solidifies it. He plugs a lot of holes, just the one guy. It's crazy what he can do, but the injuries, man, I know that was the issue, and like everyone likes the way this guy plays and respects what he brings to the table, but he can't stay healthy. And I can't imagine how much of the Tin Man he feels like walking around going, oh my God, like if your groin's hooped and then your back or your neck is hooped, like you can play with a bad shoulder or an ankle or this or that, or even your knee. But when you got those main pieces, like your groin, your back, your neck, you can't, like everything is hindered. Your skating, your turning, your passing, your shooting, your physicality, your battles, like you can't do anything. I can't imagine how brutal he feels. And then you got to play in the NHL in this day and age where it's just all bang, 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 quick, fast twitch. Everything's moving like crazy. It just, I can imagine once his groin, whatever he did to that, he's just like, let's just pull the trigger on this surgery and see if I can salvage my career, basically, because he's at the age where, you don't bounce back from that stuff. So yes, brutal news. Now the question is, what happens on the back end? I mean, we were looking at getting, a higher end D-man in the first place to help this team out. Talking about Morgan Rielly at some point today, where he's just, I mean, who can you put in his spot to make it better? The answer is like almost anybody. And now you're down Tanev. So it's brutal, man. And I mean, we're going to look back on this season and there's going to be a lot of things that stand out. But if it doesn't go the way people are really hoping, and it's getting slimmer and slimmer of chances that we can get to that point with the amount of runway and what needs to take place, hey, you're going to look back and Tanev's going to be a huge part of that, because he's not going to be able to be relied on anymore. And that's massive.
Yeah, that's the thing. I put out an instant reaction video yesterday, and the one thing that I was kind of I was wrestling with myself and trying to explain where I'm having this problem is, you were looking at a core group of, let's say it's the three, OEL, Jake McCabe, and Chris Tanev going into this season, right? We heard all the rumors about them trying to trade Morgan Rielly or look to move off him, and we're going to have to talk about that game Saturday night, because I think that's a focal point of what happened against the Islanders and makes it a whole lot worse right now. But you're looking to maybe move off of him. You're looking to maybe move off of Brandon Carlo, and you're trying to add to this core. Can you upgrade on those guys? Can you add another piece in here? Can you elevate above Simone Benoit and Philippe Myers and just kind of continue to bolster what you have defensively? Well, now you've dealt with a significant time loss from Brandon Carlo, and his play hasn't been where you needed it to be this season. Chris Tanev is out, and potentially for the entire season. You have Morgan Rielly, who, like, at this point, he's borderline unplayable at times. Like, you are in a tough spot where Troy Stecher has to play 24, 25 minutes a night and lead your defensive group. And that's no shade at Troy Stecher, but he's the guy who's got to go out there and be the driving force for everything. He's got to be the guy who's going to step up. He was a waiver claim. Like you're in a bad spot here when it comes to that. And now you not only have to try to find that defenseman, but you're looking to fill a hole that Chris Tanev took up, because Morgan Rielly and Brandon Carlo, like, upgrading on those guys is almost secondary to what it would be to filling the hole that Chris Tanev is leading. And, I mean, newsflash, that guy's hard to find. Like, it's not easy to come across Chris Tanevs. They are hard to find. It's a tough situation to be in, and I know you get some cap space or cap relief here, but it's not like the guy's just sitting out there and you can go and grab him so easy.
I know, like it's not. Are there some free agents out there that just are waiting around that I don't know about? You got to put a deal together. Yeah, you got some cap space, but that's just one of like the 4 difficulties that you're going to come across, and they're all big ones. And okay, you're not up against the cap, but how do you get a guy? We wanted to add a D-man when Tanev was in the lineup. You know what I mean? And I mean, maybe Carlo can come back and fill those shoes a little bit. We know his play wasn't good this season when he was healthy, and maybe he wasn't healthy. But again, this task of getting into the playoffs is already difficult. And every time you turn around and look at one thing or the other, it seems to pile on. And again, we started the show with the positivity of, well, you got Matthews going now, and if that's going to continue, finding chemistry up on the front in the forward group, which is huge. I think chemistry is the thing they have struggled with. I mean, the lines have been in a blender, Sheldon Keefe style, trying to find someone to play with, this guy and that guy. That's kind of positive, where it's like, okay, and it makes you have a little bit of hope. Then you look at Tanev getting, toast for the season. Like, it reminds me of Jake Muzzin. You have this rock solid dude who you're like, man, he's going to log some minutes. He's going to plug some holes. He's going to be such a big part of the back end. And then he can't even play. And then now you're like, well, where's his career at? And he's talking about long-term health and thinking about life after hockey and stuff. Like, that's serious stuff. And it's, that's obviously the more important, but when you're covering the Leafs, you look at their back end. I don't know, like, and how big of a swing do you say you can get a guy that's going to make a difference on the back end? Well, you have to give up something considerable for a team to let go of a considerable player. What is that? Who is that? And then all of a sudden you do it for what? To miss the playoffs anyways? Now what are we looking at? It's just one of those rock and a hard places, and I don't know what the future holds. Again, every other night another game comes where you got to get 2 points and play ready, and guys have to step up and fill the holes. And again, you're asking the Troy Stetchers of the world and the Nick Robertsons and these kind of guys to play above their weight class, and a lot of times they are, which is great. But it's I can't help but think if the season doesn't go the way we want, they miss the playoffs, you're going to look back and be like, one of the major cogs of that was Matthews not having anything to speak of for the first however many months. And then you didn't have Tanev for basically the whole season. I don't know what he's played this year. It's hardly anything to speak of. When he's there, he's great. And when he's not, it's a huge hole. And I can't help but think we're going to look back and be like, missing Tanev killed us.
Yeah, that's the thing that just scares me too, right? You just pointed out the whole like playoff situation. You go and try to acquire a guy. Does that actually automatically put you into a playoff spot? I'm not so sure that it does. And then, like, at what point here are you looking at the year and saying, okay, this just isn't worth it this season? It's not worth it to trade the assets, the pieces that you've got. Like, why go and spend on something that it's so difficult to look at the standings right now and assume one way or another something is going to happen positively or negatively here, because you lose the next 2 games, you could be last place in the Eastern Conference. You win the next 2 games, you could be sitting in the first wild card spot. Like, it's a weird spot, but I would rather just take this cautiously. And I know a lot of people look at that cap space and say, hey, you got LTIR relief here. You're going to get some space opening up. Maybe it's time to take advantage of that. You just pointed out, who's the guy? What's the cost? Like, is Rasmus Andersson the piece? Okay, what are you trading? Is it worth it to move on from Ben Danford or Easton Cowan and whatever of the minimal picks that you have to try to acquire the guy? I don't think that it is, and it's not a shot at Rasmus Andersson. I just don't think Rasmus Andersson coming here puts you into a position to put you in the playoffs automatically. So that's where I would be cautious myself, and I think if you're Maple Leafs in the front office, let the rest of this month play out into the Olympic break. See where you're at, see where the team is at, and then kind of go from there and reevaluate when you get back. I think that gives you the best spot, but what the fuck do I know? I'm not the GM of the team, Rosie. Yeah, that's just
Well,
fucking out of my ass.
Well, you're just going over, reason and logic and rationality on what should happen here. And I know that the guys like the tree and chief and the guys say, we believe in this room and we're going to make it better and we're going to make a push and stuff. It's like, of course they're going to say that. I cannot imagine they will make any kind of a move before that, Olympic break, when things tend to happen. Guys have time to get together and talk and really say, let's do something here. But again, even if they do, like, just, when news breaks on your phone, you're kind of like, it's Leafs, and someone, you're like, oh, and you're just like scrambling through the paragraph to see like, what is it? What happened? I'm just going to be going, oh my God, what have we done? Instead of being like, all right, who's coming? Like, we're making a push. And we were obviously going to make our team better right now. To give up what you have to give up to get anyone that matters, I'm scared of, because I'm still teetering on the side of, like, this team. Does this team need to make major changes? Like, are we just going to forget about the hockey that they played at the beginning of the season? And, that first game where Matthews and Nylander were out and they played the most inspiring, intense, competitive, physical game that we've seen the Leafs play in years, and everyone was rah-rahing it. Like, can you play that more often? Like, if you could play that more often, we wouldn't even be in this spot. We'd be talking about who we want to face as the wild card in the first round. But we're not. We're not only like just under that, we're like light year. We're in the basement of the East. Like, and it's because of the lack of that type of play. And then you got to ask yourself, what contributes to that lack of play? And Matthews has taken a lot of heat this year. I think rightfully so in a lot of ways. I give him, some benefit of the doubt sometimes, thinking that he's just literally injured. But when this team looks flat, it looks embarrassing. And I want nothing to do with them. And I don't want the core who lead the way on the identity of the team to even be on the team anymore, because we've seen it for so many years. And now Auston pops off. I just don't know what Tree should do. I want to sneak into the playoffs, yes. How much more likely is that than it was already unlikely before we lost Tanev? Now it's even less likely. And to take a big swing for what? Then you'll get this player, get Rasmus Anderson. Lots of people in Calgary are like, fucking take him, man. You need another streaky, soft defenseman? Like, take him. And I'm like, geez, that's not a very shining endorsement. I could just see that happening. Who do you give up for him? I'm talking about Cowan and stuff. Are you kidding me? Okay, then he's here, and he just blends in with all the other shit and disappointment, and we want more out of him, and where's his level of compete, and why can't he carry the bat? Just the same shit. Now we're in the exact same spot, except and now our cupboards are even more barren. And then you can't even make any changes to the team. You can't, like, it's tough, man. And all those free agents that we were licking our chops at last summer that are coming up this summer have basically signed, and now it's not as deep, and there's not a lot of game breakers that are going to be coming up on the docket on July 1. So again, I just go round and round on how do you make this team better. And the only thing I keep coming back to, like, when we see the good play that they've been playing lately, it's just so obvious, like, what the formula is. It's just this intense level of compete, and they've had it 25% of the time this year. Like, not good enough to do anything. You deserve to be in the basement with their play. So part of me just wants to close my eyes and cross my fingers and say, play this way together and will yourself to getting points every night and sneak into the wild card spot and see if you can do something magical, because anything else is just as scary as any other option when you're trying to make changes and add to this team right now as it stands.
Yeah, this whole season, honestly, has just made my head spin. Whether it's been the injuries to guys, the man games lost, the times that you're looking out there and going, there's $40 million sitting in the press box right now of guys not playing. You look at the power play to start this season, Rosie, dead last in the NHL. They don't generate power play opportunities, and then when they get them, they couldn't score on them. Auston Matthews looked like a guy who was just going to become Dylan Larkin, where he's just like plays defensively, puts up a few points, and like calls it a day. He's a good player, but that's it. William Nylander has the best start to the season and then falls off a cliff. Brandon Carlo can't play. Morgan Rielly comes out of the gates flying and then falls off a cliff as well. Stolarz, how many times did we watch him after he calls out the team where it was like he could have won them a few games? And yet we talk about all of this stuff, and it's like this is where I find myself fence sitting more than anything and just want nothing to happen. They're 3 points out of a playoff spot. It's January 5th, and they are 3 points out of a playoff spot. Mind you, everyone else around them continues to pick up points, but 3 points back of the Capitals, 4 points back of the Penguins right now. And it's like, how many times could you point to something happening and say, that's a moment you could have got a point there, a win there? And you know, the power play steps up. Stolarz doesn't shit the bed. Nylander decides to go and win a battle. You know, pick your moments or the thing to happen, and you say, you could have got a point. You could have won that game. Maybe you had 0 points because you blew something late. You could have picked up an extra point in overtime, and you didn't, and you're 3 points out. And it's like, that's where I keep finding myself here with the chat and going back and forth where people are on either side of it being like, you're out of a playoff spot. You don't deserve to be here. Everyone's picking up points. And the other side is, well, you're this close and you did play that poorly to begin the season. It's like, well, everybody's kind of right here. You're kind of just stuck in no man's land. And that even goes to Saturday night's game, Rosie, which I want to get into because I think I spent most of the entire post-game show talking about one player on Saturday night. So we'll dig into what happened against the Islanders there. Crave the Stats is a presentation of Uber Eats. Every time the Leafs play at home, you can get these exclusive deals only on Uber Eats. Firehouse Subs, the BOGO Brisket Hatcher, Kibo Sushi, the BOGO California Roll, Shelby Shawarma, the BOGO Traditional Wrap. Buy one, get one. Talk about an unreal deal before, during, and after the game. Uber Eats is assisting every fan's hockey experience all season long. Rosie, against the Islanders the other night, we switched leads back and forth. And again, just to the point of blown opportunities in Eastern Conference teams that, you know, the Islanders obviously sitting in a Metro playoff spot right now, but given how close everyone is, at some point this season, this could be a team you're trying to catch and surpass to make the playoffs. Like, it's not out of the picture that that's the case, and yet you blow another point to an Eastern Conference team here in which you had a lead late in the game, showed great resiliency. I thought that they played well in that game, but Morgan Rielly, the centerpiece, -4 on the night, and just a lightning rod coming out of that loss against the Islanders.
I know if you go -4 ever as a D-man, it's usually like a 7-1 blowout or an 8-2 blowout. To lose 4-3 and you're -4, I hope this is rock bottom for Morgan Rielly. I don't know how much, like, people aren't just talking about we need more from him and we pay him $7.5 million and we need him to step up and control the play and control the game and chip in offense. It's not that. It's we can't play him anymore. Like, when we put him out there, he's fishing the puck. Like, how many times are you watching the game or the replay or the highlights when you're just looking at 44's back turn, staring into an empty net with a puck in it? Like, it's like clockwork, and he keeps getting, out there in overtime, and it's just his reads. Like, that overtime goal. Like, this is my U13 team where I'm like, dude, how do you not wreck? Like, where are you going? It's 3. Like, that would be terrible in 5-on-5. It's 3-on-3 where you're just picking up a man. A big, strong, reliable Matthew Nyes is right on the guy that's skating towards the corner. It's not like the guy's cutting to the net. He's skating towards the corner. You're net front. Your head's on a swivel. You see the guy coming up. What do you think Barzal's going to do with that puck out of the corner? Just cut up and just find the late guy. Find the next guy. There's so much ice out there. And Rielly goes, like, what was your plan? What was your idea of, there's a guy skating to the corner with Matthew Nyes. I guess I'll drift into the corner too, and not even, like, it was just the most, it's like I said, my U13 D-men were learning to make those reads and to understand what your job is when, and who's covered and who's got your guy, and when do you stay and when do you go, and the switches in front of the net. And here's Morgan Rielly, a former all-star veteran NHL defenseman making $7.5 million, and he's making blunders that U13s are getting down pat. It's wild to see. And I have a soft spot for the defense position. I played several years pro as a D-man. The whole position's all about reads. It's all about seeing plays develop and getting ahead of it. And he is so far away from doing that right now. And I know that when you lose your confidence, you can sometimes just like not even know where to go. And it looks like he's right there. But we have a job to do right now. And like you say, every single lost point, like on Saturday, the difference between 1 and 2 points is quite big. He's out there playing like that, making those types of mistakes, -4 in a game against an opponent, like you mentioned, that we could be needing to be ahead of in the playoffs. Like, do you scratch him? Like, we don't, just our reserves are so small. Like, it's nuts. Like, he should be serviceable enough to play some minutes. It's like you don't even want to see him on the ice anymore. And I like the guy, and he's a good guy, and everyone says he's a good teammate. I don't want to attack him personally. But when you just get down to brass tacks on as a hockey player at this point in time, he's a detriment to the team. And at the worst possible time, when we cannot afford any of that shit, we need puck luck, we need bounces, we need things to seriously go our way right now. We can't have one of our top defensemen playing that way. It's almost unplayable, man. And I feel for the guy, and whatever. This isn't personal. This is hockey. You can't have him doing that anymore. And it might be at the point where you can't have him in a uniform.
Yeah, I mean, look, plus minus isn't everything, obviously. We've had this conversation over and over again, but it's numerous times here now over the last little while where you walk away from a game and you're like, oh, there's a 3-2 win for the Maple Leafs, and Morgan Rielly is -2. There's a 4-2 win, and Morgan Rielly's a -2 again, a -1 again tonight. Like, he's on the wrong side of it more often than not. And, you know, I pull up the stats, and it's been tweeted out a ton, just comparing and contrasting what's happened here. Jake McCabe averages 22 minutes and 1 second of time on ice. He is a +26 this season. 26, +26. Morgan Rielly averages 22 minutes of time on ice. 1 second difference. Obviously, different situations and stuff. I get it, but Jake McCabe is also playing the harder defensive matchups. Morgan Rielly is -15, Rosie, on the season, which -15 in the grand scheme of things is not like, you know, the green jacket that Kami's putting out territory. It's not that bad. But when you look at another defenseman who you're playing for the same amount of time every single night, playing tougher defensive matchups, playing against the harder opponents, the better offensive players on other teams, and he is a +26 in comparison to your -15, that's when it starts to get scary. Again, I know plus minus not everything, but walking away from Saturday night's game, you talked about the OT goal. That one stands out to me for sure. The first Schaefer goal, he just gets absolutely turnstiled and walked past, where Schaefer drives right past him on the outside, cuts across the front of the net, and scores. The Heineman tying goal that he scores, it's him on the opposite side of the ice where Benoit is taking Anders Lee in behind the net. Okay, both of you go down below the goal line. Both of you are back there battling. But then the recognition, Heineman's guy goes across the ice. I mean, maybe I'm wrong on this one, and if somebody who knows better than me wants to point it out, I'm willing to take that and hear it. But Benoit comes back out. He's playing as the right defenseman. He goes to the right post as the puck is on the right side of the ice. Morgan Rielly comes around the net and is in Anders Lee's back hip pocket, doesn't recognize Heineman has gone across the ice and opened himself up to a one-time position, and him and Simon Benoit could have effectively held hands in front of the net on the right post there, and Heineman opens himself up, gets the one-time pass, and scores to tie that game. Like, you look at each one of those moments. I'll excuse him on the first one. It's a seeing eye shot from the point, so okay, he's out of the danger on that one. But that's at least 3 that I look at and say, what the fuck are you doing? Where is the recognition in your own zone? Where is the foot speed? And then, part of the problem here, Rosie, is if he's not bringing that side of the game, the defensive side of the game, he at least has to be bringing it offensively or in the transition game, getting pucks up ice, making the breakouts easier, getting pucks to forwards. And he's not even doing that. Like, he's just not contributing on that side of the puck at the element or at the rate, that he should be. He's not bringing that element to the game. And we are losing our minds watching him on the power play, even with them being as successful as they are, saying he can't quarterback it. So what is he doing? What is he doing out there? Like, it's unacceptable, especially for your most expensive defenseman.
Yeah, he's not contributing is right. He's a detriment. And oftentimes plus minus, it is just not, it can be a very deceiving stat. You can have a guy on a dog shit team logging all the minutes, getting all the tough matchups in the toughest division and during a rebuild and whatever else. You have to take things with a grain of salt. But here's Jake McCabe, he's not Nick Lidstrom. It's not like it's an unfair comparison. They're playing in the exact same games at the same time for the same team, and you have a 40-goal differential amongst the two of you. It's just like they've only played 40-some games. Like, you can't spot a goal it's fucking NHL. It's just not good enough. And again, it's like, is he serviceable with these minutes, or should he play with this player or that player? I'm sorry, it's way past that. Again, all these things that you just mentioned, like, there's times you're just taking like a basic line rush, guys coming down the dots on his partner's side, and you've got a middle lane drive, and he just veers way over to stand shoulder to shoulder with his D partner. They throw it to the middle and score. And like, I don't know what's going on with the guy. Like, it's not like he doesn't know that. That would be like you go play shinny on a pond and a guy's never played hockey before. He's going to do that kind of shit. I have no idea what's going on with these reads and decisions that Morgan Rielly is making, because I mean, let's be serious. He's so much better than that. Even at his worst, I've never seen a guy of his caliber play this bad. It's kind of shocking. It's kind of leafy. If you were to pull up his lowlights in the past 4 games, it would look like a guy's career lowlights. You know what I mean? Like, I hope this is rock bottom. And Chief is going to say the right things. We believe in him. I'm not worried about him. We know what he can do. This guy's got zero confidence, and you're trying not to pile on, and the weight of the world is on this guy's shoulders. And it's a very difficult position in that league where, little mistakes, they just end up in the back of your net, and his mistakes they're big ones, and they're ending up in the back of his net every single time, to the point where I don't know if he needs a complete reset, if he needs to watch from the press box. Something needs to change. And again, like the Savard thing, sometimes it's just this weird mental change where you have a different outlook and all of a sudden you're out of the shit. Something like that. I mean, it is not going to hurt to try to put him in the press box and give him a breather. Obviously, the problem is, well, who's playing D for the Leafs, because we're quite thin there. But I don't think Morgan Rielly has played or could play any worse than he is right now. And you need to jumble something with him, even if it's just mentally, to try to get him on a different mental space, because this is just unplayable right now.
Yeah, we'll get to the Mats Sundin interview in a second. We got a chance to catch up with him, which, by the way, Rosie, I mean, of all times for you to be away, that was the coolest thing of all time for me. So I wish you got to be a part of it, but that was pretty awesome for me to get to do that. So I'm pretty thankful. But yeah, I mean, you look at the Morgan Rielly stuff, it's just getting infuriating. Like, I like the guy as a person. I like the fact that he's embraced and loves the city of Toronto. I have no issues with him, how he represents himself, represents the city, the team. Like, he's an amazing ambassador for the Toronto Maple Leafs. But at some point, you just have to kind of evaluate the play on the ice, and it's not been good enough. We talked about the switch since Savard was fired, and the way the team has played, 4-0-2 since he's been gone. The power play goes on a heater, 5 for 12. Morgan Rielly is a minus 12 in his last 10 games. This is not. trending in the right direction here for a guy who's making that much, playing as many minutes as he is. It's not good enough, and it needs to be a whole lot better. Like a whole lot better if this team is going to be able to climb out of this hole, because Chris Tanev's not coming back anytime soon. It's OEL. Jake McCabe doesn't skate again today. Like, you got to pick this up. You got to step up and kind of start to level things out. And I know, again, plus minus not the only thing here, but he's a big, big, big factor in goals against when he's on the ice, and he's not generating enough offensively, clearly, looking at plus minus here, to counterbalance anything. So frustrating stuff to watch. Also, just final note as well, Rosie, Berube came out after that game on Saturday. This almost made my head spin. I read it on the After Dark, and he's like, paraphrasing, but he effectively said, I know this was a bad night for Morgan Rielly, blah, blah, blah. I think it'll get better. He played 27 minutes on Saturday. He played 27 fucking minutes. Like, you had control of that. I know Jake McCabe goes down, but I didn't think Benoit was playing terribly. I didn't think Benning was playing terribly. I thought you could find more minutes to OEL. You could find more minutes for you could find more minutes in there for Stetcher at some point. Like, how can you not get other guys on the ice? You played them 27 minutes. I look back at the coaching there too and say, you had a hand in this.
100%. I mean, with a guy that's struggling, that is an egregious amount of minutes to hand him. And he's trying to get him going and trying to get him reps to pull himself out of it. But there's a time where a guy just needs like a break. And I think the next step is just put him in the presser for one game and let him just have a little reset. Let him not have to prepare for a hockey game for one night. Let him watch from up top. Mental reset, like we talk about with Savard. I mean, it's not like Savard was screwing up the team so bad. He doesn't even have that much like input or impact on a team as an assistant coach to make this kind of a change. But it's just like a mental little different look, different feel. And sometimes you got to do that to a guy, even if it is Morgan Rielly, put him in the press box. But playing him 27 minutes is piling on the problem. I'm sure every time he threw his leg out, he was just like, Jesus, another shift. Like, where do I've lost all feel for the position. I am scrambling. I am a step behind. I don't even think it's fair to him to play him 27 minutes right now. He got absolutely shelled in that game. That was a tight, winnable game. It's not like that was a blowout. So that has to change too. I totally agree with you that he's going the opposite direction, getting that kind of opportunity. I think you got to pull back a little bit, have the guy reset, and try him again and see if he can be in a different mental frame of mind.
Yeah, Hansley Way here also pointing out Troy Stetcher plus 11 since he's joined the Toronto Maple Leafs. So everyone around seems to be finding ways to be making a positive impact. But with that, obviously on Saturday night, we did see Auston Matthews set the franchise goal record, surpassing Mats Sundin, who was sitting at 420. He ties him and passes him. 5 goals in the last 2 games for Auston Matthews. He's looking a lot more like himself. And Rosie, we got the chance to catch up with Mats Sundin yesterday. We put out the full interview here on the channel, so everybody go check that out as well. But wanted to play a portion of that for everyone here. Budweiser Zero and Mats Sundin are marking Auston Matthews' record-breaking moment by celebrating the Kings of Assists because behind every goal, there's a Bud who made it all possible. With all eyes on Auston Matthews, they're toasting the Buds on the ice that helped him reach his record with custom cans for each player who assisted on his goals, each printed with their specific assist numbers. Mitch Marner there you see at the top receiving 152 cans for his 152 assists, and led by the icon and previous record holder, the campaign acknowledges what it takes to carry expectations in a market like Toronto. It highlights the heart, effort, and collaboration required to keep showing up as a group, especially through challenging windows, reinforcing that milestones are about shared responsibility as much as individual achievement. With that, let's get to our interview yesterday with Mats Sundin. Mats, last night, obviously, Austin does that against the New York Islanders. Back October 11th, 2007, you passed Daryl Sittler, most goals in franchise history, as well as most points that night against the Islanders as well. Can you take us back to that night and what you remember about breaking that record yourself?
Well, I think just I'm sure Auston is feeling the same way. It's more of a relief, I think, when you're in the middle of your career and in the middle of an important season, and you're chasing points during the game for your hockey club. You're not so much worried about your goals and points and assists, but you're actually looking in the standings, making sure that you're winning as much as you can. So in my case, it was very similar, and I think just I'm sure Auston has been going through it. There's a lot of media coverage about when and where you're going to break a record. So in that aspect, I think it's a big relief for him. And for myself, I remember getting an assist, and it was called back, I think, playing the Islanders. I had to go out and get another point for the record. But overall, I think Auston is showing early in his career, and he's been going for a while, but he's a superstar in the league. It's a treat to watch him play. I think it's a great for the Toronto Maple Leaf franchise, what he's done for the team, but also even better person and teammate. And I've been fortunate enough to be around the team a few times to see what kind of character Auston is and what kind of leader is. So I'm very happy for him and his family, and especially for the Toronto Maple Leaf fan base to have such a player as Auston is.
Have you had a chance to talk to him yet?
I haven't got a chance to talk to him yet since he broke the record, but I'm sure I will, hopefully in the next week here, get a chance to talk to him.
How difficult is it to kind of maintain this consistency that Auston Matthews has, or something that maybe fans don't realize about how tough this is? Because he came out of the gates, he scores 4 goals in his first game, and it's like, well, he's going to do this every night, and obviously that's not realistic in the NHL, despite how easy he made it look. And then as he's continued throughout his career, there's been ups and downs, and pretty well documented over the past few seasons here. How hard is it to just be at that level every night in the NHL and be producing at the rate that he's been doing it at?
Well, it's a great point, and recognizing that, there's ups and downs in a regular season. It doesn't matter if your name is Auston Matthews, Connor McDavid, or Cale Makar, and that goes some weeks, could be months. There's some seasons that not turn out to be as good as you want them to be, both on an individual level and on a team level. But I think Auston has really shown during his career that he's very consistent in his production. And people ask me many times, what does it take to be a star in the National Hockey League? And I would say a lot of different players can go in and have a great game, score a goal, have a couple assists, and be a good player in one game. But to do it week in and week out, months, years, and just keep going with the production, and that's what makes a superstar in the league, just like Auston Matthews. And he's been doing it now for many years already. He's still young. He's going to keep doing it for many more years. And so not really having two lows of lows, just keep being productive. And he's really proven that in his whole career.
So, Mats, as you know, this Budweiser Zero campaign celebrates the kings of assists, because behind every goal, there's a teammate who made the play. When you look back, how important were your line mates in helping reach your milestone in your career?
Well, you know what? Anyone that's been playing team sports knows you're not better than your team and your teammates, right? And, teams that win Stanley Cups are very complete. And not only in the roster, from goaltending to defense, you need good enough forwards, but also there's a winning culture where teams it's a brotherhood, and you're an extended family, and that's how you go through the tough times during the regular season, but also once you go deep into the playoffs, that's what you trust when things are tough. And it's so competitive, the league, and I think it's even more competitive today than if you look back 10 or 15 years, where there's no bad teams. And you look at a team like Winnipeg, you win the President's Trophy one year, and the next year you're really struggling to make the playoffs. So it's very competitive.
Mats, is there a teammate when you look back through your career and your line mates and everybody that you've played with that stands out to you as somebody who maybe isn't going to get the recognition that they deserve, but was somebody who was setting you up or you loved receiving passes from, and you always just thought like, hey, this guy put it on a platter for me. This guy made my life easy. Is there a teammate that stands out to you?
Well, I was fortunate to play with, I played my first 4 years with Joe Sakic. Obviously, we know what kind of career he had. I learned a lot from watching him my first 4 years. Very quiet leader, great team guy. And then the kind of player he was on the ice on top of that. He led by example. Same with Doug Gilmour, playing with him. I learned a lot my first few years in Toronto, just watching him play and how he handled himself on the ice. He led by example. Totally two different players, Joe and Doug, but winners and leaders in their own ways. And then obviously, you look at the eras when we went to the conference finals the first time against Buffalo. I think a player like Alan McCauley, who got no recognition really. I'm sure many Leaf fans barely remember him, but he was a fantastic two-way player. I was hurt, and he stepped in and playing on the top line when we went to the conference finals the next time against Carolina. So we had a lot of great players, and I have to thank Ty Domi. Made sure, and he keeps reminding me that I didn't get any concussions. He was making sure I'm staying healthy and be able to play on the ice, and held people accountable to try to take advantage of me. But there's so many more that I play with. I was fortunate enough to play with some great players, great teammates, and I enjoyed my years in Toronto more than anything else in my hockey career.
Such a beautiful game, too, like neat parallels. You did against the Islanders. Matthews does against the Islanders. Max Domi assists on the goal, like you played with his father. I thought that was pretty damn cool. But I think the one thing I noticed as well from that graphic we put on the screen was how many times Mitch Marner factored in Auston Matthews scoring in his illustrious career. Do you subscribe to maybe the fact that it took Matthews some time to start cooking again after losing his sidekick? Because that's a sidebar story in all this, Matt's like Matthews is starting to really, really hum right now.
Yeah, and you're right. You know what? Max Domi, who I see as my son-in-law, pretty much. He was in our dressing room, being 7-8 years old. It was great to see that he got in the record books, in the history books for the Maple Leafs, being on the assist for Auston. What was the other question you had there for me?
It was on Marner. On Marner.
Sorry.
On Marner factoring on a
Yes, sorry. We have my youngest son running in here now. And without a doubt, I mean, Mitch Marner is going to probably be on a line with Connor McDavid in the Olympics on the top Canadian line. And of course, if the Toronto loses a player like that, going into new season, it's going to have effects. So I'm sure it's been taking Auston a little while to get going, but he's a superstar in his own way. And with Willie and Tavares and Matthew Nice, and there's Max Domi, there's so many great players around him. He's going to find his rhythm, and he's going to keep producing. He's a superstar.
Really cool opportunity there to get to sit down with Mats Sundin. That full interview is available here on the Leaf Station 401 YouTube channel, as well as Leafs Morning Take, wherever you get your podcasts, so make sure to check that out. But Rosie, again, I mean, I wish you got to have the opportunity to sit down with him, but I'm going to take every opportunity I could to jump in there and do that interview myself. That was one of the coolest things I've done so far in my career. And I said to the boys after, I texted Vic right away, I was like, that's the most nervous I've ever been. Like, that guy was my idol when I was growing up.
That's awesome. I'm glad you got to take that chance. We got to interview him. I don't know if it was last year or 2 years ago, but I don't mind sharing the wealth, even though I would have enjoyed it as well. I'm glad you got to do that. Legend of Leafs land, obviously. And another reason to sit back and look at Auston Matthews' career and say, good Lord, what has this kid done so far? And hopefully the negativity around Auston and wanting him to play up to his potential, hopefully that's over and he can lead the way and maybe getting this team into a playoff spot.
We didn't even talk about the World Junior stuff
I
today,
know.
which I saw you had some opinions on, but I think there was a lot to get to. That's the problem. Monday morning comes around, there's a lot to get to of everything that's happened over the weekend and news that's coming out in the morning. Other news here as well, which we should touch on. William Nylander was placed on injured reserve here this morning, retroactive back to December, which I believe December 27th. Marshall Rafai was brought back up here. I'll be honest. I think mostly it's transactional. The Leafs did tell people this morning it was transactional, but a good point was brought up by Vic. Do you actually expect him to play tomorrow night? No, I don't. So in that case, is it really that transactional? I'm not sure, but I'll just point out for people, and I don't fully understand how it works, but like I know the surface level. Putting the guy on IR back to that date, every day you're on IR or have guys on IR, you can accumulate cap space as the season goes on and cap relief. So that's why they're doing that back to that date. As far as when he comes back, genuinely, I couldn't tell you, Rosie. Like, I don't fucking know. You don't know anything with these guys at this point. If he's not skating or they're not saying he's coming back, it doesn't look positive, but I just want to put that out there for people. Like, when you see he's put on IR, this doesn't mean he's going to be out for 10 years going forward and we're never going to see the guy again. He could play tomorrow in theory. It's just they're getting that cap space accrued from the last 10 days or whatever it's been.
Yeah, some of that accounting stuff that's hard to follow, and I get it. I also see on the back end, like, Carlo paired with Rielly at practice. Is he a placeholder for McCabe, who's taken a day off, or is like, what's the news on Carlo? Are you coming back soon? We know you've been playing and skating for a little while here. I think now would be a great time with the absence of Tanev and McCabe taking a day off. I think we could really use him right about now if he wants to come in and see if he can make an impact on this roster. So more stuff to pay attention to before tomorrow's tilt. Going to be interesting. Obviously the big bad Panthers, they just beat the Colorado Avalanche, but they have been fairly inconsistent, streaky, beating some really good teams, losing to some not so good. I have no idea what to expect there. But again, if the Leafs, I think their mentality is going to be control what we can control and bring the effort and the energy and the intensity and the level of compete that Craig Berube has been trying to demand out of this team that has been completely absent the first few months of the season. But they've been finding it lately, even with Willie Nylander not in the lineup. Matthews pumping the way he does, be a huge win to get over the Cats here to kind of say, boys, we can do this, we can climb, and we need some help in the standings. My God, I look at the standings, and every team in our division is like, oh, we got 10 out of 12 points here this last. Like, unbelievable how many points everyone around us is getting. We need a little bit of help in the standings as well.
We did get one super chat here throughout the course of the show. Reminder, proceeds from our super chat do go to Sick Kids Charity, Canada's #1 research-intensive children's hospital, #3 in North America. J-Rock said, Rielly and a first for Justin Falk. Do you take it? I'm saying no, man. We're not trading firsts for shit this year. No firsts for nothing.
Seriously.
Hang on to the assets. Hang on to assets.
Falk, no. Agreed. I don't want to get rid of Danford. I don't want to get rid of Cowan. I don't want to get a first. Like,
nothing.
A first from when? Like, that's the last thing we need to give away,
2043.
more firsts here. We might need those. We're going to need those sooner than later, and maybe more so than we even think.
Let's get out of here with this. It's time now for our last call, brought to you by Bet365. Whatever your bet is, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app and get in on the game. Use code NATION. That's NATION, code NATION. NATION. Must be 19 or older, Ontario only. Please play responsibly. Rosie, is there anything you're looking at here tonight? I mean, World Juniors semifinals, as well as the gold medal game taking place here. NHL action still continuing. Anything catching your eye right now?
Nothing crazy. It's tough sorting through it, but I just see Minnesota and the LA Kings there, and the Minnesota puck line plus 220. I'm such a sucker for those big plus numbers. I think Minnesota could easily beat the Kings by 2 tonight, so going to pay attention to that. But yeah, there's some World Juniors action and whatnot. I have my mind. I didn't even realize that was happening because I care so little right now after Canada's game. But I think me and Nick might have to break that down tomorrow as there was lots to talk about today, including that pretty awesome Mats Sundin interview. Good job to you for that as well.
Thanks, Rosie. Appreciate it. That was a lot of fun to do. I think for tonight, for myself, I'd probably have to look Red Wings. I know they're playing against the Sens here tonight, but I don't really trust the Ottawa Senators, and I think the Red Wings are going to look to kind of get out of this little slump that they're in. If you're looking at World Juniors, I would stay the hell away betting-wise from that one myself, because I don't really trust Canada going into this bronze medal game. Do they show up, and do they have any give-a-fuck meter? I'm not entirely
What's the number?
sure that they do, but...
what are they favored
I'm
at?
imagining Canada is going to be favored. I have not seen what it's listed at. I can try to find 1 second.
Yeah, it don't matter. I would stay away from it too. The give-o shit meter after that heartbreak.
It's concerning.
Yeah, I don't know how much they care about getting a bronze, to be honest with you.
Yeah. With that'll end today's show. Appreciate everyone who's watched, liked, subscribed. Rosie, as always, appreciate you taking the time to do this and having me fill in the chair. Nick was not here today because he's getting another awesome interview done. We've gotten some pretty cool opportunities this season to get Nick in person down there at the practice facility interviewing Leafs players. So I'm not going to spoil who it is here yet. We'll let that come out over the next couple days. You got to find us on social media to find out who that player is, as well as subscribe here to the channel to find out who the interview is with. Thanks to everybody who watched. Thanks to producer Vic behind the scenes as always. Rosie, thank you to you. This has been another fun show, so thanks as always. And I hope
Always
to get
fun,
you on
buddy.
After Dark here soon.
Yes, let's do it. Maybe I think Tuesday could work. Let's docket it right now for Tuesday after dark. I'm in.
Right. There you go. Rosie back on tomorrow following the game against the Panthers. Thanks to everybody. We'll catch you back here tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern time for another edition of Leafs Morning Take. See you guys then.
Make sure to check out more of our content right here on the Leafs Nation YouTube page. We got long-form interviews, we got clips, we got epic rants by Jay Rosehill. We simply have it all. And don't forget, you can find out much more at theleafsnation.com. Thanks so much for watching.